Oh,
You good?
yeah.
Okay.
It's all alive in Facebook. You're going to teach me how to do this later on.
You bet. Where did it go? Let me at least find you, because there is such a delay in this. So like, hey, everybody. I'm just checking. Yep, we're on. Hey, everybody. Laurie-Ann here, and I've got our special guest here, Kim Jones. I realized that I had to postpone this from last week. I was not feeling well, and I'm feeling so much better now. And Kim was so lucky of us that she was able to reschedule it for this Monday night. And I wanted to bring her on because, as you know, you've heard me say over and over again that there are many different platforms, but I want you to hear from somebody who's been on and is leveraging a number of platforms. So before we get started, Kim, would you just kind of introduce yourself to the crowd?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Kim Davidson Jones, and I am a professional organizer in Louisville, Kentucky, but trying to spread my wings a little bit more national. I'm also the mom to 3-year-old twins, which is completely chaos. And that's really why I got started in this business, as I knew that I needed something to rein in the chaos and all of the clutter. So I started this business when they were just 1 year old.
Wow. Say a little more, because I am just sharing.
Okay. So it's been an adventure. This last year has been very, very fun. Started out with doing a lot of in-home and really starting out doing any job I could get in the very beginning to being a little bit more selective. So I've seen a lot. I've done a lot of research on the best methods, and then just trying to reach a broader audience to help others get organized and not feel like their life is just completely chaos and stressed out all the time.
Damn. Pretty impressive, right? So I'm going to be keeping track over here. If you guys have any questions, I have put this in a number of different groups for people to participate and also watch for. So everything looks like it's a go. Okay, let me just make sure I keep this quiet. Okay. So like I said, Kim's been on a number of different platforms, and kind of like take us from the beginning, from before you started using speaking to the different platforms that you're using.
Okay. So I started out with a partner because I am a major introvert. So while I love doing the work, I did not love the sales and marketing. So I relied on someone heavily for that, and it didn't work, but it ended up being the best thing ever for both of us, because it made me kind of get out of my shell a little bit. I never ever wanted to talk in front of anyone. It made me like literally have like a panic attack, and I reached my glass ceiling in my corporate job rather quickly, because I told them if they wanted me to speak at conferences that they could just go ahead and fire me because it wasn't happening. So they protected me for 15 years, but it was almost to my detriment, because I never broke out of my shell, and I never really challenged myself. So last year, I went to a really interesting conference, and it was kind of just a game changer. And I wrote down everything I wanted to accomplish in 2019. And speaking was at the top of the list, which I got a lot of interesting looks from people when I mentioned that, because they're like, oh, yeah, okay. But I made it my goal, and I set out and I just started asking anyone and everyone if they wanted to hear about getting organized, and just kept at it, and I've had a fair amount of success in the last year with it.
And so what are some of the other platforms that you've been on? Because it's not just a stage.
Yes. So I was on the local news, which was really, really exciting and different. Something I never in a million years thought I would do. I also published a book in October. So that's really been helpful to kind of spread the word of how to live organized and simplified life. And then I've also tried to just do small mom groups. I did one that was in Nashville via Zoom. So it was kind of fun because it was a mom group of twins. So I had a lot to relate to them. And they were all just kind of sitting at their houses with a glass of wine and asking questions. So it was really, really fun. So it's been, it can be anything from a very small scale to, I spoke in Dallas at a mom's conference as a breakout session, which was extremely, extremely fun. And I learned a ton. And that's kind of what I would like to continue doing next year as well.
Say more about what you learned when you say like, I learned a ton from that speaking, because that was what would you consider that to be your first public speaking gig?
Yes. So I've done a ton of networking in Louisville where I've had to get up and do my elevator speech, which is like, for my husband who's in sales, he thinks that that's no big deal and he could do it like in his sleep. But for me, I really had to prepare and get myself in the energy to do it. So I've done a ton of networking all throughout the year. And I think it was kind of building up, and I did a speech in one of my networking groups. So I think everything was just kind of building up. But Dallas was my first big conference where I did a PowerPoint and presentation and had a standing only room, which was a little intimidating, but also great energy. And it went great. I was very prepared, thanks to Laurie-Ann. So I wasn't nervous, which is interesting because I took 3 of my girlfriends with me because I just wanted the support, and it was also fun. We turned it into a girls' trip, but they kept asking me, are you nervous? Do you need to practice? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I've been practicing this for months and I could, talk about this in my sleep. So if I trip on anything, I'll just keep going.
And that's so true. And a lot of times when people say to me, like why people get nervous. And I think it's because you're not prepared. You don't know what you're going to talk about, and share with them that. So she wanted to really engage with her audience. So she actually had 3 different presentations. The beginning and the end was the same, but the middle part was what is the moving target, is what I'll call it. Because she let the audience decide, what do you want to learn?
Yeah. So when we first thought of that idea, I was like, oh God, like I just need one speech. Like, let's stick to the basics here. But it worked really, really well. It was really, really fun. So the options were to talk about closet, kitchen, or toy room. So at a mom's conference, I thought that for sure we would be talking about the toy room. So I hammered the toy room like nobody's business. And I actually did, or the kitchen. And I did a dry run with the projector and lighting and everything. And I was like, I'm just going to do the closet just to like try something different because I've done the other ones. And shockingly, the entire room raised their hand for closet. So it was crazy because they were all on the exact same page and they had so many questions about the closet. So I went well into my time where I was worried about coming up short. But it was great energy because it's something they wanted to talk about and not something I was talking about, and they might not have anything to relate to that.
Yeah. And not many speakers offer the audience, the option of like, hey, what do you want to learn about? I mean, I've known some speakers who speak on social media and they will stand up in front of a room of, 300-500 people and say, how many people are here? Like, you want to learn about LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. And then he just like goes right off of like, okay, this is what you want, and just carries off the presentation. And it also just lets the audience know when you're able to do that. I mean, it doesn't work in every situation, but in your situation, it was also a way just to give you a moment where you could like ask the audience a question, what they want, so that you were now engaging with them. And they were like, like actively raising their hand saying, yeah, I want closets.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really fun. I'm really glad I did it that way too.
And they're going to have you back again.
I hope so. It was such an adventure. I didn't even know stuff like that existed. But it was just a really good experience for social media influencers and moms to kind of all be in the same room, just talking about being a mom and that it's not easy and that we're in this together. Because I think a lot of times people try to be the perfect mom, like my house is organized and it looks Pinterest perfect. And that's not always the truth. So it was really fun just to sit down and chat and talk to others who are in the same boat.
Yes. And talk about your book.
My book, it just came out. It is the No Nonsense Home Organization Plan.
I wish I had a copy right here.
You should have a copy on your desk at all times, right?
It's on my shelf of autographed copies. Yes.
Yeah. So the publisher actually came to me, which I thought at first was just like another spam email or a way to get more money. And I was about to write it off, but I thought I have nothing to lose here. So I investigated it and I set up a call and it worked out. I was so happy that it worked out. It was on my vision board for 2019. So as soon as I got the email, I responded, even after the hesitation. So seeing it come to reality has been super exciting.
That's unbelievable. I don't think I knew that it was on your vision board.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wrote a letter to myself, which I guess I'll be getting out over Christmas last December, and writing a book and speaking at a conference were my top two things on there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Geez, you're going to have to now you're going to have to redo or create a new vision board for 2020, the new decade.
Yeah. I got to think bigger and broader. Yeah, but
because I got a few clients who are extremely powerful at manifesting, and if that's what's happening to you, I mean, just keep rolling with it. Be bold. Put some of those scary big things out there on that vision board, because I really think it just says to the universe, like, all right, this is what I want. This is it. Like, no ifs, ands, buts about it. And you wrote that you wanted to write a book in 2019. Wow.
Yeah.
And those things just happen. Yeah. So, and it took you how long to write that book?
It took me a month to write the book, and then several months for edits and back and forth, but a month. So
1 month to write a book.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time at my local coffee shop. And they knew me by name. With a lot of good music and going, but I kind of just had to stay focused and get it done. It was a crazy time to write a book. I had like really tight deadlines. My mom was also in Florida and she had gotten sick at the same time, but I just had to stay zoned and just keep going for what I wanted.
You did really well. I do remember that when the contract came in and the publisher shared, like, here were the deliverables and here were the dates that all the deliverables were due. And you were like, but I've got she still has a business to run. Yes. She still has clients that she takes care of. And I just it never hurts to ask, just to turn around and say, I can have this done at this date, this done at this date. And they were like, okay. Sure.
Yeah. Those deliverables were negotiated.
Yes.
The original deadline was even tighter. There was just, I couldn't even fathom.
Yeah. You did very well.
Thank you.
Just like you said, lots of coffee.
Well, lots of coffee. Yes.
Lots of coffee, lots of writing, and just getting it done. And that's part of how you accomplish so much as a mom business owner, and any of my clients and people that are following me. And I am such a big advocate for put things down on your schedule. She's writing a book, so she had to pencil in or pen in, here's the window that I'm at the coffee shop writing the book, writing this chapter, writing that chapter. And you honored it. Like you were paying yourself, like a paying client. This is a very important, appointment that I had to keep. And poof, you've got this. I know, I really should have grabbed that book. Let me go do that. Keep talking. here is the book. Short, sweet. And I've gotten a couple of books that are actually this size, Kim, that's making me think like this size is a new trend.
That's interesting. Yeah. It's kind of easy to carry with you to do all the tasks too, and to highlight and keep track of it. So it's not big and bulky.
Yeah. No, it's the perfect size book. Very well organized for a home organized book. No pun intended. But let's just talk about just being a businesswoman, being a mom, being a mom running her own business. Like if you had to give advice to somebody who was just starting out, like what would that advice be?
My first piece of advice is to ask, because I always thought if something was meant to be, someone would come to me with the opportunity. So even when I was in the corporate world, I sat there for 15 years and just waited for them to ask me for the next position or ask me to do the next thing. And it's just really interesting because now I just ask. And if you say no, I'm okay, well, on to the next one. So really just ask. And if you think you're qualified for it, then those people are likely going to think they're qualified. You're qualified as well. So that was the one thing with the news. I sent a pitch to them, an email, and they emailed me back within minutes and said, can you come on tomorrow? And I was like, oh, whoa. Like, I just like got myself to do the pitch. Now I need a little minute to like get there, but just ask really. And also just, I think something I'm still working on, as you know, is setting boundaries. I have a tendency to say yes to everything because I want to get as much exposure as possible. But if it's not going to bring me value and it's going to cut into time with my family, then ultimately I have to say no.
Yeah. Let's go back to that TV appearance. Typically with TV, when they say, can you come on like tomorrow? And like, again, she's running a business. She actually had clients all booked that day. So she really couldn't. So she had to say, no, but, again, you were bold enough to say, no, I can't make that work, but I can make this day work.
Yeah.
And they were very happy with it.
Yes. Yeah. It worked out perfect. And I was prepared too, because I didn't want to go on the next day, try to cram it in between clients and not have my best foot forward or be fully prepared. Because I did an entire display. So it took a little time to get all that ready. And luckily my husband was off that day. So I had him as my muscle carrying everything in for me. So I wasn't, like shedding any sweat or anything, staying fresh. So it worked out really well. I was very happy. And I have another appearance on a different show, the first of the year, talking about getting kicked off with your New Year's resolutions.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect timing.
It's very perfect timing. So she's probably going to become some regular on the TV shows out in her area. Because you've been on the Today's website.
Yes, yeah, I did an article on todayshow.com, and I've done a few other article contributions. Bare Minerals. Trying to think of what are the others. I was in Kentucky Living magazine. And just kind of just getting quotes out there to get your name out there as much as possible. But it's also really, really fun. One of the articles I did for Bare Minerals was talking about your closet and what you should keep and what you shouldn't just pitch, because sometimes we have the instinct to get rid of everything, but we don't necessarily have the budget to go out and buy a whole new wardrobe. So what are the staples in the closet to keep? And I'm a fashion lover at heart, always have been. So the fact that I got to talk to someone about that, I was like, I should really be paying you right now because this is insane. And I got to talk about like Monica from Friends with her boots that she bought that were totally not practical. So it's just really, really fun. And it's kind of, getting to associate and talk with different people that I wouldn't normally get to talk to on a daily basis. Really interesting.
That's great. All right. So we were talking about like making the ask, asking for what you want. And for those of you who know that, I have my little woo side. And so you have to ask for what you want. Whether that's, like in your career that I'm interested in this new position, or like, hey, I want to be on this TV show because it's going to be good publicity for my particular brand. This is going to be a great audience for me to speak in front of because, you know, it's got my audience. And being able to make that ask, making that ask is not a bad thing. Because not everybody, and so we'll just use like speaking. Not everybody knows that you're a speaker yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about Kim. I'm just talking about like if you're just starting out and you don't have a speaker page and it doesn't say speaker on your business card or it doesn't say speaker on your bio, you know, you do have to go up to the meeting planner, the organizers, and just say like, hey, how do you pick your speakers for your monthly meetings, for your quarterly or spring or fall, like your biannual conferences, you know, like what's the process? Without making that ask, the answer is always going to be no,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, and no, we're not going to pick you because they don't know. So, because it's just going to start the conversation of, oh, I didn't know that you were a speaker. It's amazing what doors just open for us when we get over the fear of asking.
Yeah, it goes a long way for sure.
Even in sales too.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you know me, I'm always saying you should like always be pitching.
Yes.
And especially like when you're first starting out, like that, making that offer, you know, there's a reason why I tell my clients that you should like always be pitching, because I want it to become so natural. That way, when you're in front of the room and you're standing up in front of like 30, 50, 80, 100 people, making the offer to get on a call with you, it sounds so matter of fact. You don't stiffen up and like, okay, and if you want to jump on a call with me, like who wants to get on a call with you when you're like, they can, your audience member knows when like there's this energy shift. And if they feel weird and because they notice that you feel weird about making the ask, well, they're not going to sign up for the call. So that's why I'm just like, it has to just become something very au naturel. And you're doing a great job at that.
Oh, thank you. It's taken a lot, even like networking and kind of what we were talking about, getting in person and doing a lot of, you know, face-to-face meetings. And it takes a lot, but it's been worth it. I'm glad that I got out of my own way to get there.
So speaking of those networking events, you know, Kim also comes from the real estate world, which I think goes really hand in hand, really nicely with her home organization, because not only does she know the world of real estate, but she can also help other agents, you know, like what do you say to somebody whose house is very cluttered? What are some suggestions, and how do you bring in a home organizer such as herself? And there's lots of real estate and realtor conferences as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is one area I plan on tapping into more in 2020.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great market for you.
Yes. Yeah.
But to talk about the in-person stuff, because a lot of times people don't think of the in-person stuff as like a form of speaking, but whether you're just giving your elevator pitch or you are just meeting people, I mean, that those one-on-one conversations are so valuable.
Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing, even for the things that I went into just kind of wanting to have a fun evening and like, you know, meet some new ladies, just getting more connections, even if it doesn't turn into business, as connections, and having the face-to-face and getting to know new people and getting someone to like talk to about business and what systems do you use and just the experience. I went to it's a networking female entrepreneur group in downtown Louisville, which it was like a Wednesday night. I never go out on a school night because of the kids. But I got myself out there and I walked in, and the very first thing they said is introduce yourself and give a 30-second speech, which I did not expect at all. I thought it was going to be a bigger event where I could just kind of sit there and watch the person speaking. So I wasn't prepared, but it was, like you said, it came very natural because it's something I have to do at every single meeting I go to. So it was no big deal. Whereas six months ago, I probably would have had a panic attack and turned all shades of red. But it was no big deal. And I met an amazing connection that's kind of been in my back door with real estate, but that I had never had an opportunity or a reason to get to know her But we connected that night. It's as simple as just walking up and introducing myself and I think I recognize you. And it's gone a long way. It's been great because it's opened the door to more connections into other companies and relocations. Part of the service I offer is unpacking. So relocating CEOs and corporate businesses and unpacking their families in a new city. It's a huge stress relief for them because they're coming to this new city. They don't know anyone. And on top of that, they have all these boxes. So that's been just a great experience. And it was just as small as going out on a Wednesday night and introducing myself, which seems so simple, but I've always found 1,000 excuses to not do it because I didn't want to put myself out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's worth it. I've had a lot of good experiences even over the last 3 weeks of just trying to do like one thing a week even. And hopefully I can get it more to like one a day or just do something small a day, but it's been a really good experience and gotten to meet a lot of good people.
And I kind of call that like, there's a long game, in marketing and like going to those networking events. I mean, are you going to get a client like that night? You never know. But it's about building those relationships, seeing those people again and again, seeing where those relationships can then take you. And, like I can just hear like how like there's a lot of dots that are connecting now with you. And it just kind of like all because of, I decided to go do this. Yeah. All because I decided to send the TV like a pitch. Because I decided to answer the email from the publisher, because I decided to put myself out there, and I got picked to speak at the moms conference that was in Texas. It's just, again, amazing what happens when we take that bold step, when we decide like, this is who I'm going to be. This is the sort of businesswoman that I want to be. And like, you're being a role model too. I know that I always come back to that too, but you're being a role model to like your children, your other family members and friends, that like the people that are around you. Do you feel like a role model?
No, but it's funny when you interact with people on Instagram and then you see them in person and like, oh my gosh, you're doing all these great things. And I'm like, oh, really? Like, oh, yeah, sure. I guess I am.
Thank you for noticing.
It's just really nice, especially my best friend, a small business owner in Maine. And she just sent me like a text last week and was like, you're killing your social media game. And I'm like, I feel like that's my weakest link. I was like, wow, okay, thanks. I'll take it. So it's just nice to hear that along the way and just get the positive encouragement and see others also really kind of go from like 0 to 62 and kind of like cheer them on and be like, I'm watching. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah. That's nice. That's really nice. So what's coming up for you in 2020? Not only the new year, the new decade, but what's kind of like on what's going to be on your vision board?
So I actually, a couple of things. There's a mom conference that I have set my sights on and I've been pursuing for the last several months. So I'm hoping to hear back very soon if I got that, which is in LA in May. One other thing I really want to do is go to a conference or retreat to grow. To not go as a speaker, but to go as a participant and really try to learn and absorb as much as I can and just continue to challenge myself and grow. Because it's really, really hard for me even to like go to those events and like, meet other people and just put myself out there, but I'm ready. I'm going to do it. So those are my big things. And a children's book is actually on my brain. I put it out there to one of my friends just to like, say it, speak it, see what would come. But I would love, I have a toy guide and I have 3-year-old twins. So I've been like experimenting with them their entire life. They're probably sick of me at this point, but I would love to write like a children's book on how to get organized and kind of like a fun, like, let's make this fun. So I usually like try to do like a sing along or a dance party or something, but my kids know where everything goes at the end of the night. And they dance to 2 different drums, even though they're twins. Like I have to do different things to motivate both of them. But I think it's really important to, even with daycare, when they're done eating, they get up and take their plate and put it in the, rinse it out and put it in the trash. And I just think it's great life skills to set you up for success as you become an adult too. Like everyone kind of gasps when my son gets up with his plate, like they think he's going to spill it. I'm like, no, he's doing his thing. Like he knows what he's doing. Let it, gives him independence. And he's like, I got this. So it's been really fun. And I'd love to share that with other kids too, and other moms too, like how to give them the independence and give them the tools and resources to put their toys away so that you're not constantly cleaning up after them.
And what I love about that is it takes all the responsibility of keeping the home organized on the mom.
Yeah.
Like what if you've got like 4 kids that are running around, like, and you're the one that's cleaning up after them. But, and I do remember this because since we started working together, you told me like, no, my little ones, she goes, I have a system that teaches my kids how they learn where everything belongs. Everything has a home and they know where to put it. And this is the first time I heard about the singing and dancing part of this.
I try to keep my singing and dancing to like behind closed doors, because even my kids are like, please stop. But whatever it takes. And at the end of the night, when they have like got all their toys out, it's not stressful to me at all, because I'm like, do my little like cleanup dance and they just follow along. And then we go straight upstairs and we go into our bedtime routine. And so the end of the night is so completely, sometimes they have their meltdowns, don't get me wrong, but it's not stressful because they know what's next and they thrive on routine too. So we do our cleanup, and then it's not me sitting down there cleaning up for an hour and just wanting a break. So when they go to bed, I go to bed. I go into my room and I do my own thing. I don't sit there and clean up after them or, go clean the dishes, because all of that's being done during the process.
And that cleanup time together, that's quality time together.
Yeah.
The kids don't hate cleaning up.
No, they don't. My son is like a little like organizer already. He's got all of his monster trucks in a row. I think my daughter might be going the opposite way. She's hoarding stuff in her bed, but she still knows how to put stuff away, and she knows where everything goes.
That's nice. And don't you have a toy guide that teaches parents how to do this?
Yes, I do, in detail. And I worked with a child psychologist too. I actually organized her office. So while we were talking about organizing our office, I was like, hey, while I have you, can you kind of give me the psychology behind what's going on in the kid's brain with toys, and why they don't want to be just completely overwhelmed with toys, and how like simplifying it is better for them too.
What possessed you to, again, this is all about you, like you were bold enough to make the ask. Hey, well, I've got you, but I'm so curious to what made you curious about that particular question that you would ask her?
It's funny because we had our kid's second birthday party, and my mom does not know how to just do the basics. So she basically brought them, like, I'm not even kidding, like 500 toys. And my son was so overwhelmed, he just got on his little like motorcycle thing and just started zooming around the house. And she kept being like, hey, come look at this toy. Come look at this toy. Don't you like it? He wanted nothing he was way overwhelmed. He didn't know. And that's kind of goes back to kids at Christmas when they play with the boxes. It's because they have too many stimulants going on and they can't process it. So if you keep the toys minimal, then they truly can learn what to love and they can have a passion. So I often switch toys in and out because my mom's giving them so much toys so that they can actually play with the toys. It's just like your closet. When you have no clue what clothes you have in there, you get overwhelmed and you say, I don't have anything to wear. It's just like kids, they'll say, I don't have anything to play with, because they can't process what toys they have because there's so many and it's so overwhelming. So we have very few toys. We have like 3 categories. We'll have some sort of a sing-along or a yoga, and then like maybe some dolls, and then maybe some like magnets. And I'll have 3 different categories, and I really just switch it in and out. And it keeps things fresh, and I don't have to keep buying new things. I just literally am putting it in the basement and then bringing it right back up.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. I'm pretty sure like my sister used to do the same thing. They were only like, if they got like 5 new toys at Christmas time, it was, then they had to decide what things were they going to like, like donate to somebody else. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Kim, I know that you work with people both in person and remotely, but where can people find you?
Oh, hold on. I'm having internet issues. Okay, sorry.
I can hear you now.
Perfect. What was your question? Sorry.
That's okay. My question was, I know that you work with people both remotely and in person, but where can people find more information about you? And I'm pretty sure that you mentioned that you had a free gift for everybody too.
Yes. So you can find me on my website. It's lkhomeorganization.com. I'm also on Instagram, LK Home Organization, and Facebook. I try to be out there as much as possible and giving as many tips as possible and really feeling like you know who I am, and that you can connect on a personal level, because organizing can be a little tricky too, and you don't know what to ask or how to even get started. And sometimes people are scared to ask how to get started. So I will feel like I want to be a person who people are comfortable coming to with any questions. My free gift, which is the kind of the pain in everyone's butt, is the laundry, because it feels like it's a never ending project. So I put together 5 tips on how to simplify the laundry process, and so that you feel like you're winning laundry and it's not beating you.
Yes.
So that is my free gift.
Great. And will you put those links in the comment section below afterwards?
I will.
So that information will be available for everybody, so that you can find her on social media, find her website, and grab the laundry guide.
Yes, please grab the laundry guide. And if you want to get on my newsletter, I will be sending out Black Friday deals a little bit early, so you could be the first ones to see those. Trying not to overwhelm people on Thanksgiving or the day after. So I'm going to send them out this week.
Wonderful. That sounds like a great idea. Give people the opportunity to opt into those sooner than you're right, than being overwhelmed with all the emails that are going to show up next week.
Yes, the Black Friday hole.
Yes, yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This has been my special guest. This is something that I want to do like once a month. And there was an application process, and I know that there's been a number of people who've already applied. So thank you so much for that. This has been a great evening. And next week, we are going to be talking about gratitude 2.0. And that will be again like Monday at 5. So I will see you then.